I'm Kevin Good, and this is Weapons of Mass Production. Today we have a selection of lenses. These are all 24-70 f2.8s, the workhorses of professional photography. If you ask many a pro photographer what lens they would put on their camera if they could choose only one, you'd probably hear one of these more than anything else. But they can be crazy expensive. So today we're going to put the cheaper variations from Sigma and Tamron up against the more expensive Nikon and Canon lenses and see which one you should spend your hard-earned ruples on. If you photograph test charts for a living, then I can't help you. I want to know if I can see a difference under real-world conditions. So here's a real-world shot with detail and contrast to see if the differences between the lenses actually matter to my work. Here are all four lenses shooting the same thing with the same settings. First, we're looking at 1080 resolution. So if you're shooting HD video, this is the best it will look. This is the center of the image. And now we'll look out near the corner where the lenses tend to be softer. Since the sharpness changes with the zoom setting, we'll also try a shot zoomed in, first in the center of the frame again, then out towards the edge. Now we'll take this to the next level and look at the sharpness for stills. This image is 21 megapixels. First we'll look at the center of the frame, now the corner again. We can see that the sharpness is more critical. Now we'll go zoomed in, and again, this is the center of the image. Now the corner again. Here we can see a big difference, but this is an absurd case of staring at corner detail, and all these lenses will be sharper at a more moderate aperture. Here's a point of light shot through all four lenses, and here's that same point of light out of focus. Bokeh refers to the quality or shape of this out of focus area of your image. Lens nerds love to make a big deal about this like it's the most important thing on the planet. But let's look at a real world scene and see how much it makes a difference. First, we're going to look at some out of focus foreground objects.
Here's fix your pipes.
So pay attention to how the out of focus object in the foreground looks.
Can't seem to find my tools though.
Do you need some help with that?
Can you help me with that?
And since bokeh is different when the background is out of focus, now we'll switch so the foreground is in focus.
The tool is so big.
Now pay special attention to what the out of focus background looks like.
Excuse me, ma'am, which pipe do you want me to work on first?
Do you need a towel? It's dripping all over the floor.
Then we're making progress.
Are you close?
Just 1 minute, I'm almost done banging your
All these
pipe.
lenses look pretty similar.
All right, well, you're good to go. Thanks for the sex.
Should I get my checkbook?
I'll send you an invoice.
Great.
Have a great day.
You too.
With these f2.8 zooms, we're paying a lot of money for that extra bit of aperture and the extra brightness that brings. So when we're shooting these lenses at f2.8, we want the image to be as bright as possible and evenly illuminated across the frame. So here we're looking at all the lenses wide open at f2.8 to see which one is brighter and which one is more even out to the edges.
Oh, no. I'm out of here.
So the wall behind me should be an even gray from edge to edge if these lenses weren't vignetting at all. But keep in mind that in the last example, we were shooting wide open too. This just isn't as noticeable unless you're shooting gray walls and framing it in gray frames. In the real world, a little vignetting is fine, but we do want the image to be as bright as possible. We're paying a lot of money for that.
Hey, what? All right. What we're going to test right now is the Tamron's lens stabilization versus the other 24-70s to see if that's really even doing anything. Or is it like those sensor cleaners, just a bunch of hocus pocus? The only way we could really test this is by strapping Kevin to the hood of his car and driving around in an abandoned parking lot nowhere near a hospital. Let's see how it turns out.
So the Tamron is the only one of the lenses to have this optical image stabilization built in, and it does smooth out the video, but what does it look like for stills? Well, here I'm trying over and over again to get a sharp picture, hand holding it at 1/8 of a second shutter. That's way too slow of a shutter, your hand shakes too much and you can't get a sharp picture. But then I turn on the vibration compensation on the Tamron, and sure enough, the picture is sharp, handheld at 1/8 of a second, zoomed in to 70 millimeters. That's crazy. 5 out of 5 pictures were sharp with the image stabilization on, and 5 out of 5 pictures were unusable without it. That's the most emphatic win I've seen yet. So which lens do we like the most? Well, the Sigma fared pretty well. It is the cheapest of the lot, but it's not the sharpest of the lot, and if you're paying this much for a lens, even one of the cheaper ones, you better be getting some real quality for your money. So I can't quite recommend that one. Yowzers! Next up we have the Canon here. The Canon was very sharp, but it was also very expensive. I really can't get behind a lens this expensive when it doesn't have a very useful feature like optical image stabilization that one of its competitors does. Sorry, Canon! This, my friends, is the Nikon. The Nikon is very similar to the Canon. It's not quite as expensive, but it's also very sharp, and it's also very expensive. Once again, if you're spending that much money on a lens, give me some optical image stabilization. It's a feature that I want and that will make my life better. Ooh, that leaves us with the Tamron. If I had to choose one of these lenses to go out and shoot an event tomorrow or shoot some video, it would be this guy. Why? Because while it's not quite as sharp as the Nikon or the Canon, that doesn't matter to me as much as the optical image stabilization, which is a good feature that'll really make my life better, and it's something I can use. I think even with price aside, this is a very competitive lens. And Nikon and Canon need to wake up and make something this competitive. All right, let's see what we got here. Ready when you are, baby.
Yelling at me.
Oh. The winner from our flash giveaway for spreading the word on Twitter last week is Thomas Not a Train from Seattle. Thanks for spreading the word. Thomas, get in touch with us on Twitter and we'll send you a free flash. The rest of you, I hope you like the show enough that you'll still spread the word, even when we're not bribing you to do so. Thanks for watching. Next week we test out, well, just subscribe and you'll find out.